Hi there, flute beginners. This is Mrs. Stevenson, and we're here to talk about how to assemble your flute carefully and correctly. So let's take a look. First of all, you want to make sure your case is the right side up. A lot of times the name of the instrument case, of the kind of instrument, the model or the make, is printed on the top. If it is not and it's blank on both sides, you want to make sure that there's a little bit of a thinner part on the top than the bottom. A lot of times the lid, which is the top, is just a little bit thinner. My case is very old, so it looks different than yours, but yours might have like a little bit of a buckle. Mine has little clips. Okay? You'll know that is right if it doesn't fall out. Okay? The other thing I want to point out is that my case is sitting on a flat surface. You can do this at home on the floor or on the table, on a countertop, but just not in your lap. You're not quite ready for that yet. Okay, so once we have it open, we have three main parts. The three main parts are the head joint, the main body, and the foot joint. So if you have a head, the body, and the foot, you can kind of tell which is the top, medium, and bottom. So let's start with putting the head joint onto the main body. The first thing you want to do is take cork grease and kind of lubricate the ends and rub it in with your hand, and then you will maybe wipe the rest off if it's a little too gooey. Let me show you what I mean. Not chapstick, right? It's a specialty item for a woodwind now. Okay, so this actually is cork grease. It does look like chapstick, but if you just read the label, you'll figure it out. It won't hurt you, though, if you do, on accident, mistake it for chapstick. It will not hurt you. Okay. So I just quickly put some on there and rubbed it in. My hand's a little greasy now. It's a little dirty. So I'm going to get a Kleenex or a napkin. Just wipe your hand off, no big deal. But boys and girls, families at home, take care of this because it is a lint magnet. And so if it gets goopy and goppy, no one wants to use it anymore and it makes your case yucky. So roll it down, wipe it off, and put the lid back on. Okay, that's how you'll always want to use it because it's not gross. Okay, now that I've greased the head joint, and now I can take the main body and assemble these two together. So when you're doing this, you might say, what end does this go in? Well, it can't go in this side. You can tell right there it won't fit, so it's got to go in this side. Also, you'll notice that the head joint goes in the part that has a space where there are no keys. See, this just has a little thing here, but there's a long space with no keys. Okay, so that's where the head joint goes in. When you put it in, try not to squeeze this. You'll bend these up very quickly. Even if you don't see that they're bent, it won't play right, and it will be because it's bent. So you want to just twist and push. Now, if you have trouble doing that, that means you don't have enough cork grease on there. If it goes, woo, too fast, you might want to take some of the cork grease off, but it should just kind of wiggle in. Okay. Now, this is obviously the top because that's where all the buttons are. So one way to know if your mouthpiece, your head joint, is lined up properly with the main body is to look at the hole and kind of like line of sight here. You want to make sure that the top of these keys are lined up with that hole. Kind of hard to see. Maybe this is a better angle. But you can see that it's pretty lined up with the top of the keys. Not here. See how that looks? Not here. See how that looks? But right there. Right there. Okay. So now we've got the head joint onto the main body. The next thing is we need to grease this part. It's just put a little dab on there and twist it, get it nice and rubbed in, wipe your hands off. You should be good to go. Then you're going to take your foot joint and you're going to twist and push lightly. Again, if you grip this to push those together, you're going to break your flute in some fashion. So twist and push. Okay, now this is different. Take a look here. There's keys on this foot joint and they are not lined up here. They should not be, because this is primarily where your pinky is going to be on this foot joint. See how that foot joint detaches? Right there, it moves, it swivels. So this foot joint, first key, not down here, but these little ones here, have to be right where your pinky is. Okay? So the best way of really lining that up when you're not sure where your hand really properly should be is to look at this rod. This is a rod in here. This should actually be lined up with the top of the keys. Here we have the mouthpiece hole lined up with the top of the keys, but down here the top of the keys are not lined up. They are not meant to be lined up. Otherwise your pinky will not reach. Okay, the rod lines up. And that is how you assemble your flute for the first time. Practice it, get good at it so that you can do it quickly and carefully.